Found footage movies are the worst subgenre of horror. We proved that mathematically last year. Anthology movies are possibly the second worst horror subgenre, and this week's movie combines both of those with Christmas and adds Greg Sestero. This week we're talking about The Christmas Tapes, a 2022 horror mockumentary Christmas anthology that was made in hell specifically to torment us. Welcome to Spooky of the Week. It's time for Spooky of the Week. You know, I keep waiting for one of you to just do it, like, before I can do it.
I could do that next time.
I would never want to do that.
I could change it up.
It's not that I want it to happen necessarily.
It's time for Spooky of the Week.
After I've already done it, that's
you can cut yours out.
The magic skull.
Cut yours out.
Why would I cut mine out? I do such a good delivery.
Then why the f were you telling us to do it?
I'm based on how you guys operate typically. I'm just surprised it hasn't happened yet.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
Yeah. It is time to talk about another spooky movie. This month, we are talking about all Christmas horror movies. So
Kevin picked the theme this year.
we had a theme.
My theme.
Christmas horror was it. So each week this month, we've been going through a different Christmas horror movie. And this week was my turn to pick. So without further ado, I'll explain myself a little bit, because I do have some
You have explained to do, you motherfucker. Give me a Topo Chico, you son of a bitch.
I don't think I have any.
You don't have
I drank
any?
them all. I've hard.
I put 4 in there like a week ago.
Yeah, and I drank them that night, dude.
Dang it. Anything bubbly, dude.
I have carbonated poop.
That is fine.
I do have some apologizing, and so far, if we're going for apology check, this is the first apology this season. So,
You have a lot to apologize.
Kevin, although it's usually only me.
It might
or
be
Sam
the only
Slade
one.
that ever apologize, because you never apologize, and you also never apologize. You both have a lot to apologize.
You have
for.
a lot to apologize for.
Yeah.
You're the fresh one.
It's more than me.
I recommended The Christmas Tapes. The reason I wanted to do this movie is last year our theme was found footage or horror mockumentaries.
Yeah. And I don't have to do this ever again.
Yeah.
Because we're not. They're banned from Spooky of the Week. They're banned. So sorry. Next year we're not doing Cannibal Holocaust. We're not doing
All your recommendations that you keep putting in.
because I'm not watching a single one of these ever again. I'll watch another documentary again, but if there's anything spooky or they say it's spooky, I'm not watching.
And so I wanted to pay homage when we were talking about what movies that we would pick. I was like,
I forbade.
are there
to happen
any
again.
Christmas
Forbidding
horror
means nothing
mockumentary?
anymore.
Forbidding, it never meant anything.
So you found a Christmas found footage movie.
Well, so here
Somehow.
was the first thing. I just searched for Christmas mockumentary horrors, and I'm thinking there's
did it
got to
on
be
purpose.
a ton. Yeah,
He knew. He
I
called
knew.
the shot. It's like, they have
I
to
was
do
thinking
this.
there's got to be a bunch of them. There's got to be, like, you know, Santa. It's the Blair Santa Project, I'm sure, is one of the. It just has to exist. And then when I looked it up, there weren't any. Like, there was a couple, but nothing that looked like even remotely like.
Watchable.
Yeah, like a real movie, except for one. And it was The Christmas Tapes. And I was like, okay, what's this? And then I click on it, and Greg Sestero of The Room fame is in it. And I was like, okay, this is a lot of interesting angles. Sam Slade forbade doing any horror mockumentaries or horror documentaries, and so I thought, of course, that's what I'm gonna choose. I picked it, and
No one knows the meaning of forbidden.
Well, dude, listen, they
All out ban of one type
ban.
of a movie, and we can't follow that.
we are
Forbidden just means spicier, dude.
Yeah, forbidden just means spicier, dude.
As in forbidden fruit,
why
dude.
do you think
You're not supposed to
Pornhub's-
eat that.
Why do you think Pornhub's biggest sections, dude, are the forbidden sections? You're not going to the PG section of Pornhub. You're going to the forbidden section. Going into every Spooky of the Week season, I'm not a heavy hitter. Like, I'm not gonna, like, Keegan and Kevin have both seen 1,000 more horror movies than I have. Sam Slade typically has a higher taste. You like better movies.
I try.
You try. And so every year
He looks for something.
It's always a struggle to bring something original. So just doing the pulling the grenade pin on myself option just seemed like the most fitting. And so yeah, I recommended The Christmas Tapes. It is a horror anthology. Or do you want to explain it?
Well,
You've done it every.
I was gonna say something else, which is so Alec actually texted me first because he was like, "Have you heard of this movie?" I'm
Yes.
like, "No," and he's like, "Don't look up anything." I'm like, "Okay."
I wanted it to be a surprise.
But you told me it was found footage.
Yes.
And what was going through my brain was, Alec is wanting revenge on me and Kevin for picking for having
I'm
a
the only
theme
one that gets hurt here.
and picking what the theme is.
No.
And then he starts punching Sam Slade in the face.
Yeah, no.
Me and Kevin.
You were my only allegiance is to content, and I am punching Sam Slade knowing that that's funny. I'm
is
punishing Sam Slade.
I was watching it miserably, and I was like, "This will be funny later."
No, yeah, this is completely adherence to the
Through
content.
tears.
I knew this wouldn't hurt you. Like, if I thought this could hurt you, or if I was trying to hurt you, I'd make you watch two women talking in the forest for an hour. You know, like that.
Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Yeah.
It's a Christmas movie.
It is a found footage anthology, so it has a bunch of different vignettes, and there's kind of the.
It can't just be one bad thing. It couldn't be. I didn't even know that part going on. Even though you did say it, I forgot that it was anthology, and then it started being an anthology, and I was like,
Is that a recurring theme where we all say something and then we all delete it immediately
it was
and then watch whatever
in
it
that
is?
moment realizing that it was also an anthology movie. Like it was like Alec was Kaiser Soze. I was like, everything's aligning. This has all been a plan to screw me. Everything's connecting.
So it's a horror anthology, and there's a wraparound narrative which Greg Sestero stars
Sestero's
in,
there.
in which he's a stranger who shows up at a family's house on Christmas,
You really are Santa. Of course.
then makes them watch some movies at gunpoint.
Some homemade movies.
Homemade movies, yeah.
While I was watching it, this strange cerebral effect like started taking over me. This movie, in a lot of ways, is Spooky of the Week. I had a Cody-esque like
This is
movie
our minds.
is
intertwined.
us.
What if we're brothers?
Greg Sestero is every single one of us at the same time, but we are also all the family watching.
What's
the
funny is I
movies.
also was thinking about Cody. I was like, this seems like a Cody pitch movie.
Oh God.
Which you can cut that because that's really mean. But I was watching and I was like, this seems like something that Cody would come up with. And he's like, and I'm Greg Sestero. And that's what's cool about it is that I'm that guy.
What's your Christmas tradition?
Every Christmas we do watch a movie.
Making the next great Christmas movie.
What's in the box?
It's not midnight yet.
They let in a super weird guy.
Good hands, stay calm. Rachel, go! Get over here. Cast photo, here we go. You asked what was in my box?
I don't want to know what's in the box.
Well, yeah, you do, because you asked about it. He doesn't show you any good films, because he's not original. So you're going to take this and you're going to put it in, and we're going to get started, all right?
This one is better. This one is a ton of fun. I had a blast watching this movie.
Going into this movie, I really knew it was going to be painful. And there was no like, oh, I thought it could be good. Like I love horror. If you watch the videos that we did last season, horror documentaries and found footage films are possibly my least favorite genre of film. Period. Like it's just
They are terrible.
It's a bad genre. I don't like it. And so going into this movie, it was just
Even the good ones are bad.
yeah. We watched the good ones last year, and
We watched some of them, yeah.
Yeah.
And they were bad too.
Yeah. Well, there was one good one.
Two good ones.
If I had any enjoyment at all, then I would come away marginally surprised. And I might have severe brain damage, but I actually enjoyed this movie quite a bit.
You have severe brain damage. This is a terrible movie. This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
In your life?
Yes.
The movie
Ever?
The movie is not good. But as it was going, I was like, you know what? I don't know if this is intentionally funny, but it started making me laugh. And that like little line deliveries that people were giving, like just started cracking me up.
You asked what was in my box?
I don't want to know what's in the box.
Well, yeah, you do, because you asked about it. So I'm going to show you.
And then the last short that plays, because it's what, 5 shorts?
4.
The fourth short. The fourth short I just genuinely enjoyed. I was like,
Oh, yeah?
that's not a bad short. I
I think
thought
5 if you include the super short one.
There's
With
the
the
Cannibal
snow.
Scarecrow.
There's the Santa
couple.
one.
Then
Santa
there's the guy
couple.
with the box, and then there's the last one.
Yeah.
It's not good. I'm not over here saying it's good, but for what I was expecting, I ended up enjoying way more of it than I thought I would.
That is preposterous. Did you like drink NyQuil the entire time?
No,
And
dude,
liquid Vicodin? And you
I
were
was
just in
sitting
loopy
there
land?
just like, listen, dude, have you ever heard of a little thing called enjoyment? Like, have you ever tried?
I
doing
have.
that?
It's impossible to do that for this
Have you ever
movie.
tried- has he ever tried enjoying something before? He's too negative.
I've always tried. I always try. I
Why don't
couldn't
you
do
just
it.
go into a movie and accept that it's
Why
a
can't you
movie?
just watch movies?
Why can't you just watch the movie?
I would barely
Like,
accept that this is a movie.
Why do you have to be so critical of acting? Like when like what, are you expecting?
So actually, speaking of the acting is probably the worst part about this whole movie. movie itself.
Most of the main leads are either really, really pro, and
There's not a single good actor.
Greg
in it.
Sestero.
No, he's terrible. This is Greg Sestero's best work, and he is terrible. This is why he's terrible, because that character he's playing has to be played by someone like Sam Rockwell. He delivers every line the same way, and that's what completely tanks his character. Like, he seems like this, like, on paper, it's like this, like, wacky guy who's, like, psychotic and is making them do this thing, which works. That could be really funny, but if you're Greg Sestero and you suck at acting and you deliver every single line the same way, then no, it doesn't work. It works if it's like Sam Rockwell, where he's bouncing around, where he's like, oh my gosh, you guys like that, right? Like, he's, like, changing the way he says things. He's changing his,
changing his
energy
inflection.
and, like, his emotions. But
Yeah.
Greg Sestero's not doing that.
He's just delivering it.
He's
like
just
Greg
delivering it
Sestero
like
does.
Greg Sestero, where there's a couple lines in there where I was like, that could be funny if it was delivered better.
Yeah.
Like when he watches the first tape, and then he's like, okay, what'd you guys, that was a lot to think about, It's like, that's kind of funny. And then he's like, okay, what'd you guys think? You first. And he pulls up the gun.
Man, travel buggies. I'm just so honored I could bring you this film. Now, I just want to hear your thoughts, suggestions, favorite characters, and I want to start with you.
Like, that's funny. That's a funny joke, but he doesn't deliver it well.
Or when he's, or when he's like, what did you think? I thought it sucked. Yeah, I think your red scarf sucks.
He did have.
And he just kind of walks away.
He did have one line delivery that did make me laugh. It was he mentions a specific director. I'm forgetting.
Fellini.
Yeah, he was like, oh, it's like a Fellini film or whatever.
All right, we're gonna shoot this in profile, like Fellini would.
Who the
Right?
fuck
You-
is Fellini?
you're gonna line it?
Crazy
Don't,
motherfucker.
you're never gonna
Stop.
say that
Stop,
again.
Rachel.
That was a funny line.
A big problem with it is that it feels like the entire thing is improvised and everyone is doing a terrible job improvising.
Yes.
If it was written, if you come up with things that, and if it is scripted, if you guys scripted this movie and it's as bad as it is, like, you're supposed to think about what you write down. You're supposed to think about it, and
I don't think they knew, dude. I don't think
it's very clearly
maybe they didn't know you're
like,
supposed
hey,
to
just
think before
here's
you
the
write.
scene. Just keep going until the scene's over.
Yeah, I think the thing that they're going for is something along the lines of an intentionally bad movie. I think that's what they're going for.
No, they thought it was hilarious. They genuinely like this concept, and Greg Sestero has actually played that character he's played in another thing. I don't remember the name, but
Puppet Master?
It's not Puppet Master.
No,
Oh, it could be. I don't know. I don't think it's Puppet
definitely
Master.
not Puppet.
But he's reviving a role he played for these same directors.
Interesting.
It's a continuation.
Huh.
So they like this. They wanted this is good to them. They like this.
Either way, I was laughing at it and with it at certain parts. So that can be my end. There are parts at the beginning, like just the first two actors that they had in that first short were so abysmal.
So terrible. And nothing happens, and then a monster gets them,
And
which
then
is
a
what
monster
every
gets them.
and then it's like,
Okay, I've done my best. All right.
This is your best? This is nuts.
Fuck.
We're gonna freeze to death.
Did you do anything? Did you
Yeah,
help?
I was involved this whole life. You didn't talk to me about planning at all.
You didn't even offer to help. You didn't try to do anything. You've just been negative the whole time.
I didn't want to even do this. I just wanted to be at
Yeah,
home with
I
our
know
family.
that. I know you didn't want to do this.
it was so frustrating because I forgot that it was an anthology movie. The tape starts and I was like, oh great, you took this already terrible, boring, awful found footage Christmas horror movie, and then now you're making me watch a different one that's worse.
That's even worse. Yeah.
Like, why are you doing this to me?
But
I was already not enjoying myself.
There was a line in it that made me crack up because the way the guy delivers it. He's like, "How are you gonna make food? A stove? A stove?
Where are we gonna cook our food?
Well, we have the stove as well.
The stove?
Yeah, it's like a little stove.
This isn't real. This isn't happening."
I swear to God, this is not happening.
This is not real.
I was so annoyed at that part. I was like, "What? That
What
is
are you
not how-
talking
This is
about?"
not and because it's all improvised because it's clearly not scripted. Like this is what they're coming up with.
Yeah.
They're just like, I'm not. This is what a natural person would think in this situation. This isn't real.
And at first,
I'm being pranked
we've completely jumped the gun because you just started firing off like a lunatic.
because you said you liked it.
So anyway, thoughts going in.
I said that I liked it compared to what I expected. Kevin, what were your thoughts?
My thoughts. I was thinking before I watched it, and closely to starting the movie.
There's no way they're going to do anything right. There's no way. For the most part, they didn't. It's very hard to describe my feelings for this movie. It's like
It's so easy for me.
I think the best way to put it is, was it a good movie? No. Was it a bad movie? Yes. Did I hate it? No.
Yeah, that's very accurate.
Like, I like that's the thing. By the end of it, I didn't find myself despising it.
Yes.
I would never watch it again. I have no interest in thinking about it ever again.
It's a very good way of putting it.
Like it came in waves for me. Like when it first started, I was like, this is an interesting premise. Like, and it's and so far it's not done horribly. And then the minute he starts that other we talked about the couple one, immediately I was like, no, this is not good.
This is
not
bad.
good. This is not
very
good.
bad.
And I was like, well, maybe if there's a bunch of really short ones that are terrible, at least it'll feel like it's going faster. And then 3 hours passed, and I was like,
we're also an
we're
hour
still
and 40
here.
minutes.
We're still here.
Way too.
This is
When
actually.
I saw that at first, I was like, oh, it's another Kaiser
This
Soze
might
thing, dude. I was
this
like,
might be the
everything's
longest
terrible.
movie in this year.
Yeah, it's
really close
to Day of the Beast.
But it feels 4 times longer. And then some parts kind of towards the end, I was like, okay, this is actually kind
There's
of fun.
very few
Like,
little
I'm enjoying
moments
this.
that are kind of good, that are kind of funny.
Yeah, so, I mean, my kind of thoughts on the whole were anthology movies are just kind of shit in general.
Yeah.
Name one bad one. You can't do it. See?
Name six.
He couldn't name one.
Name six. Name six.
Name
He
six
didn't-
bad.
he didn't
Name
name
six bad.
six. He
He didn't name
six.
six. He didn't name six.
On the whole, I think anthology movies are usually not very good.
Yeah.
There's usually like 1 or 2 good little vignettes within the whole anthology, and that's the only thing people really remember. Where they go, "Oh, it's a good movie," and I'm like, "No, there's one good vignette in it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the case with this, where the first one super boring, and as soon as it started, I'm like, whatever. Then the second one starts, and I know you enjoyed the second one. I was watching it, I'm just kind of like...
No, the second one I was laughing, because that was when I started being like, oh no, this is
cringe.
This is making me laugh at it. Because the old actor dude, there's a line I wrote down.
Bennett.
That's Bennett.
It is Bennett. It is fucking Bennett.
I forgot till afterwards. Then I was like, oh, that was Bennett.
I forgot also, and I was watching, I was like, I've seen this guy. Who's that
There's
guy?
a line that it's, what are your kids' names? It's Finn and Jessica. So it's Sin?
Hey, kiddies. Hello, Will, Sven. Finn. Finn. Oh, never mind. Merry Christmas.
An overall issue with the found footage genre is that it forces you to not cinematically make something.
Yeah.
And not that you can't, but for the most part, people don't because it's cheap and easy to do.
Yeah.
And so it's not just the performances that are ruining the lines. It's also this joke is not given its due because it's not actually put forth on the camera.
Yes.
And in the movie well. There's a line in that bit. There's one line. It didn't make me laugh. I was like, that's a funny line. It's just not done well in this short. It's very small. There's people talking over each other during it, so it doesn't really work. But he's already picked 2 boxes or 3 boxes or whatever. He's about to pick the last one, and the wife behind the camera is just like, be positive, Dean. Come on. Try to stay positive. It's like, why is she being so encouraging? Just try to stay positive, Dean. Come on.
But I definitely agree with you. The second one was really cringy. The third one was my second favorite because the third one is the shortest.
Third one is the shortest. Yep. I didn't like that one either because nothing happens when a bomb explodes and a monster gets you. It's essentially the same thing.
That one I feel like I could go on a whole tirade about because that one sucked so much.
It is the worst constructed one.
Yes.
But it is my second favorite because it's
over in a second.
And then the last one, Paranormal Perry just saved the day.
I wish he saved the day. I saw what he was going for, but for the most part, I was like, I'm not having this for you, dude.
I didn't realize, without going into too much, I didn't understand the tone of that fourth one until he started grabbing for his nuts.
Ian said I was back here with it.
My nuts. I gotta carb up a little bit. Nuts.
No, thank you. I'm allergic to almonds.
What they're going for now.
So this is where I think that you are 100% correct because I think the character is funny. I think even the performance is decent. I think it's ruined by the fact that so much of it feels improvised and it's edited terribly.
Yeah,
it's not cut down.
It's not cut down. If it was a 4-minute thing,
forever,
that's funny. He has some funny bits. I think the only time I actually laughed during this entire movie was when they're like, "Hey, we're just gonna tell him that we're not gonna be able to pay him. We'll pay him, but we're not gonna go with it. It's off. Whatever." And then, but just tell him it's not gonna work out. And then he's like, you know what? This one's on me. And it's like they've got nothing now. They have to do it.
There was a line that cracked me up.
This one's on Perry. This one's on me.
There's a line that cracked me up Where
Paranormal.
they start kicking him. I think it's in that same part because they're kicking him out, and then he's like, "What? We have to do it now. There's activity."
We gotta do this now. We have activity. You don't know.
That one also ultimately is nothing happens and a monster gets them.
I like the way that ends though. As far as monsters getting them, the fact that it's a clear setup where Perry says if you break this circle and he's a huckster the entire time, and then they break the circle and then die.
That is fine if it wasn't 30 minutes.
That's fine.
I agree with you. Like in terms of editing, it needs to be trimmed down.
Ultimately, it's unsatisfying because of how long it is. You're just like, wow, that's
Like you
really
can
the
you can have
conclusion.
an abrupt ending if it's really short.
If it's a 6 minute short, that's funny. Like that's like, yeah, that's your ending. You go, cool. But when it's that long and most of it's terrible, and it also has a stupid tonal shift where it should have just been that the whole time.
Well, yeah, that was my thing because the whole first
The
part was
setup
like,
is
hey,
terrible.
we're going into a house and
It takes
you should
so
go
long to
get
get
pizza. And then
You guys
it's
are
this
moving?
spooky thing.
You
I was
guys
like,
are
oh, so
moving?
this is going to be the paranormal activity segment of the
And you
movie,
didn't
right?
bring anything in your own car at all. You put all of your stuff in the moving van. You didn't bring anything at all.
And you're not even driving your own
clothes.
Yeah.
Not a sandwich. A bag of nuts. Nothing.
Like, and also, you could just stay at like a hotel.
Not a bag? Yeah.
Yeah, you could stay at a hotel.
Yeah.
Also, this is all over the place. The setup for the ghost is not enough for me to be like, wow, this is all happening organically. I was watching it, I was like, why are you guys freaking out so much? It's not that crazy. She sleptwalked.
Yeah.
What if she sleptwalked and turned on the lights?
It was scary. I
know.
the candles were on. I was sleepwalking. I've never sleptwalked.
I know.
Maybe we could call somebody to come and like
I don't
cleanse
think.
it or look around or.
No, that stuff's Come on, honey. This.
Well,
you guys
that's-
are insane for
that's
thinking that it
why-
has to be ghosts.
Part of why I did like the ending, because it was ambiguous. I thought that they were just going to do a bit where he was a huckster the entire time.
But because it's so sloppy, it's not ambiguous. It's just them saying, it is ghosts, it's ghosts, we have to do something, it's ghosts.
Yeah.
You know, even though you're kind of like, is it ghosts? Like, are you sure about that? I guess, because you're telling me and I have no other reason to, like there's nothing, like, it's still happening.
Like literally the build up into it was way too long.
Yeah.
And then once it happened, things went on for way too long. Even though I thought they were funny. The first time I laughed out loud watching the entire movie was one of the first few jokes he did. Just like, Paranormal Perry, that's me. You can find me, Paranormal Perry _1. Do not look up Paranormal Perry.
No, Scary Perry.
_2. Scary Perry.
Because his username on Instagram is Scary Perry, and he was like, Paranormal.
Oh, yeah,
This is
Scary
another guy.
Perry
He's in
_1.
Michigan. I couldn't get that name, so it's Scary Perry _1. Don't
Underscore
look
one.
up _2. Completely different guy.
Completely different guy. And I went, that's funny. I'm like, that's something that like Blade would say in Bloodhound. You know, like, you know, I was like, that's funny. And then I was like, I hope there's more stuff like that, and there was. But in between, there was all these plateaus.
It's because they
of,
filmed
oh
it
my
and they
gosh,
thought everything you
cut
said
this
was
down.
hilarious.
Yeah.
They were like, everything you're doing is, dude, it is so funny when you reference like having sex with his grandma or whatever and throwing the bell. That's so funny, dude. You're so funny.
Yeah, they did so many jokes. That's my biggest problem with that short overall, because by that point, I was just like listening, literally just listening while doing something else, writing down lines that made me giggle. And then by the time Paranormal Perry came in, he started just spouting out stuff, and I was like, okay. And then there were a couple that made me laugh. But as it was going, I was like, there's just way too much shit. It's the Deadpool thing, where it's just like there's way too many bits per minute happening here for it to be like
He's also
super effective.
Like Paranormal Perry's version of a 10 the whole time. Like the moment he's at the door, he's already being this way too eccentric goofball before you can even understand what his character is.
Yeah, when he showed up, I was like, how long is this?
His level's the
gonna
same.
last? Yeah.
Like a lot of bad performance in this, it's all the same. It's all just this is what this character is, and he delivers everything the same way. Same thing with that terrible couple in the Scarecrow one. Like when they started arguing, I was like a minute into the argument, I was like, oh, this is a real argument. They're not just goofing off. Like because everything this whole
everything
time
they've been doing has
it's been the same. It's like no, this is a real argument that they
just so
pulled
terrible.
out of their ass.
They're just giggling the entire that. They're so bad in that first short. They're giggling through every single
Did
line.
the directors make all of them?
I believe
or did
so.
they just?
They're
I think
the
so
only
because they're
credited
directors. That's it. Yeah.
You're bad people.
In the credits,
You're
they
bad
say,
people. I hated every single thing you did.
We have watched a lot of bad movies on this channel and in Spooky of the Week that we are mandating us to watch.
Yeah.
And And sometimes, yeah, I'll watch them while I'm doing something else. Never
I don't do that.
Never once.
That's what's hurting you, dude.
That is what. Listen, dude, I'm giving it pure.
You're full of attention's paid to it.
Sam Slate and I are on the same team.
You got to keep it pure, dude.
Never once.
I'm here to review it for the people, dude.
Did I ever watch something, even while doing something else, and actively try to do something else? I was working out when I watched the first half of the Christmas tapes. And when it started, I was like, watching, paying attention. I'm not joking. A minute or two into the couple, I started looking at the popcorn on the ceiling, like picking pieces off. I was working out. You have other things to look at. You're focusing on working out, right? I was literally so insanely bored that I was looking at other things to do, like the wall. Like I'd never done that before.
And I think for me, the reason
Antrim didn't do
found
that to me.
More enjoyment as it went.
Came close.
It set the bar was so low by that point that anything that made me laugh, I was latching onto. I was like,
oh, for sure,
that's a good line,
for sure.
Huh?
See, I like this movie way more than I should.
For me,
I'll say that
it is a slope upwards, but you start so low that the slope is so shallow.
There's a line.
It's like maybe you'll get to a 1 eventually.
The piper has to be paid, and I am the piper. Let me fill you in.
And he says it like it's supposed to be threatening. It's just.
You know what's wrong with that short? Also,
the piper.
With the same problem with that last one is that the setup is also way too stupid for me to get behind. It's like the guy in real life who wanted to show his family that he wanted to surprise his kids by coming down the chimney as Santa, but he died. Yeah. It's like the same thing where it's like, that's obviously a terrible idea. Why'd you do that? Like, why didn't he get a friend to take him? Why didn't he get someone that he knows to take him in a box?
Yeah, and then it falls.
That doesn't
into,
make any sense.
Why is this guy that's been planning revenge
he's the only one that answered?
He's the only one that answered. And
it's
has
all
he been
student film
with this
logic. It's all like the whole time I was watching, I was like, this is student film level. These people that made this clearly have no idea how to make a movie, so they're like, what? You know what we can do? Make a found footage movie, because you don't actually have to make a movie to do that. You just film something. You just film a bunch of people talking for enough time to where you can edit together an hour and 40-minute movie, and then there you go.
There you go. You have
they have no idea how movies are supposed to be
made.
Greg
Sestero's name on it. They filmed this movie. I guarantee they filmed this in how many shorts are there? 5? They filmed this in 5
Well,
days.
5 if you include that.
I'm including the.
Well, there's no trivia in the movie.
I
so
guarantee
we have no
you it
idea.
took them 3 years to make.
Oh my god.
These buffoons took 3 years making this. They thought it was a masterpiece.
I think for those because they got a couple of actors that are real actors. I think they only paid them for a day because you have to pay people like that. They're not getting Bennett for free, dude.
That's true.
So Sam Slate, what were your thoughts on this movie?
I think I've given a lot of
Sam
thoughts.
Slade interjected and
It's just I'm so frustrated every time something else is
thoughts
brought
going
up.
out.
Yeah, thoughts going out. I do want to talk, if we're out of the thoughts going in / general thoughts, I do want to talk about the short. Do you have something?
I was just gonna say, are we even gonna split between spoilers and non-spoilers, or are we just beyond that?
Is there a single person on planet Earth who you even could spoil this movie for?
Actually, it's impossible for the truest sense of the word spoil. It is
That's what I mean.
impossible to spoil it.
This movie is.
It is not possible for you to be like, well, now I don't like it because you told me that. There's no possible way.
This movie
There's no
actually
way.
might be
There's
the
no
world's
way.
first completely unspoilable film.
Also, all
can't-
things considered, we haven't in terms of plot and the ends of the segments, we haven't really.
Everyone
spoiled
dies. Everyone in every short dies.
I could remake it and then show it to someone and be like, okay, I'm going to show this to you to spoil it, and then you can watch it after. They would still not be spoiled. It would still be the same. It would just be the same experience no matter what.
That's
true.
So, I do want to talk about the box short film because to me this it goes to what a lot of shorts, not just this movie, but a lot of shorts have the problem of, especially when trying to tackle a horror thing. There is a very simple formula to making not a good horror short, but at least one that's effective. There's a very simple structure. It is, you need a character that is at least a little bit empathizable, like someone that you can right off the bat empathize with. You need clear setups. Everything needs to be extremely clear for what the rules are and what the threat is and how the main character can avoid that.
Yeah, you don't
So
just
that
walk
way
into a room
there's
and Greg
suspense.
Sestero is like, I got a gun, this is happening now. I'm going to make you watch movies, I have a gun.
The character you as the audience need to believe that there might be a chance for the character to escape, because if there's no chance, then there's no tension, because you know that character is going to die. That's part of the reason why I started checking out halfway through Inside, because I was like, this character is not getting out of this halfway through. The same thing applies to every single one of these horror shorts, where the there's no tension, and the box one's the worst one because it's so short, and then it just farts in your face at the end because it does all those first steps appropriately. It's like there is a clear setup. There's a box, you can get to, you just have to deliver it here and you won't explode. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of fun. And then there's also a spooky guy running.
There's some weird little tension because he's like, oh, well, just drive me up the road a little bit more. And like, no, get in the box now.
No,
like,
I'm talking about the guy with that's delivering
exploding multiple box one. Sorry,
there
the
are
exploding box one, not the one that has the box in it and the explosion at the end.
Listen, they all have very similar problems. So all of this applies to basically all of these. The exploding box one, it starts farting in your face by he starts teleporting. So like the setup is that a guy has been put a chip in his brain that says your head will explode if you don't deliver this package to this place, and it's all in first person like Hardcore Henry. It's also intercutting with this stupid ass like tape
for a dating service.
And the whole way I was like, what is the horror supposed to be here? It's cutting in between this like dating tape and this guy carrying a box, and none of the rules, like the rules that it sets up, it starts immediately unraveling because the guy starts teleporting.
Well, it's supposed to be cuts within the footage you're shown.
But he ends up back in the front of the yard and he's like screaming. Like
he's being told there's hallucinations. Don't worry, they're just hallucinations.
No, he does teleport because what happens is he gets to the door he's supposed to get to, and then the two guys come up on him, and then it cuts and he's back outside, and he's like, "Brr, brr, brr," and then he
I think the
explodes.
implication was that they knocked him out and put him back outside.
Not the left boob, but in the heart.
Which I'm like, I don't know what that's about. Like, what's the point of this whole short?
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
it's unclear what happens.
The setup for the structure is there, and then it just completely unravels to being unclear and not even for what it's going for. Because I wouldn't have liked it even if it was successful. But like for what it's going for, it completely shits the bed. And it's so frustrating. That one to me might be the most frustrating just because it is so short. And it's like with a short that short, it's such a great opportunity to just do one small concept really well. And it's like you couldn't even do 2 minutes well.
They didn't do anything because these people are buffoons. Like I said, they don't know how to make a movie.
You could have the easiest plot ending to that like in the world. He gets to the place he's supposed to be and he's trying to find the right door. And then these guys keep coming, and basically it comes down to the scary guy is in front of him, but he has to confront it. He confronts it, he runs right through it, it disappears. It's like, sweet. He gets to the door, and he realizes that he got the number wrong, and he didn't make it, and he blows
something small
up.
like that, I think would be really funny, is if he does everything right, he gets to the door, and there's this little inconvenience that is screwing him over.
Yeah.
Like something small that's just like, oh my gosh, if he could only do this, he'd be fine.
Yeah.
But he can't.
Well, what I thought would be funny is if he got to the next step, and like maybe he went through a bunch of detours to get there, and when he gets there, there's another step. Like they set it up like, oh, you just got to bring it here. Then they never specified that like that's the final thing. Like it's just like, oh, if this is your path to freedom, first thing you need to do is
like he gets to the hotel and like just a clerk is trying to stop him. It's like, hey, you don't belong here. You don't have a room. And it's like it's a little thing that's just like completely screws him over and kills him. You know, like something like that would be funny.
But no, and then the rest of the shorts, literally, I think I would have been, all of us would have been a lot less bored if they had cut 30 to 45 minutes out of this movie.
Yes.
Because the shorts, if
you need to write a script.
Yeah. I think
start there.
I think for at least the Paranormal Perry, I think they had a script for that one. Or at the very least an outline, because the bits seem too planned and like
certain ones, because he had a bit of effects.
And like the ending is
there's a few jokes that definitely had to be planned.
Yeah, and the ending is also well thought out as far as the gags go. The rest of the shorts don't have that. Like one of the first notes I wrote down is in that first short, the guy is hacking at her body or whatever, and the camera's panned up, and you just see the costume looks terrible, and it's like a close-up shot of the costume.
Terrible. Yeah.
The sound effects are so
It's just
like. Literally, that overlap of me and Kevin doing that is exactly what it sounds like. It's so.
And she's like, ah! And I'm like, it doesn't even sound like an axe actually hitting wood.
Yeah.
Like even if it was, it doesn't. It doesn't even sound like that. It's just
the couple one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I also
Well,
like how
Scarecrow gets
he
him.
cuts the arm off, and then he's like, "Well, I gotta make sure I take the arm in front of the camera."
in front of
so
the
I can
camera
get
and eat it.
Yeah.
And it's like, why did he do that?
It's for the camera.
And the mask is
For
a
the camera.
Halloween.
I think
Also,
you can buy
why
it at
didn't
any
they?
store.
If they wanted to do anything with that short, why didn't they have the scary, spooky scarecrow guy in the background every once in a while instead of nothing happening?
He was in the background of like one shot.
I just thought of
I didn't notice.
I just thought of an ending rewrite for this movie that to me I think may have made it funnier. Is if at the end, Greg Sestero isn't a killer. He is just a psychopathic film person. And these are just his movies that he's making them watch.
Yeah, well, that's what I was waiting for. Is like, why is this happening?
Yeah.
But he doesn't even do that. He just
No.
like, I wanted you guys to see these movies you would have never seen.
I was just thinking of your Scarecrow thing of it needs to appear in the background more. Of like at one point them looking up and it is just sideways on a tree right above them. It's just like sticking out.
But it would be great is if Greg Sestero was in all of them in some way. It would be better because then it would be like, oh, you don't even have to explain at the end like he's this crazy filmmaker that is making you watch these movies. It would be like, oh, he clearly made all these. That's what I was waiting for in all of them. I was like, why are we watching these?
Or maybe in the last one, he actually has a bigger cameo, and one of them figures out, they're like, these are all yours, aren't they?
No.
You made these. It's like, no, these are art.
Well, art stands by itself. You don't need to know who the director is.
The implication is that in my reading of the movie, and Keegan, your master plots if I'm wrong, is that all the movies are supposed to be real found footage movies that he's just collected. Like all this stuff really happened. I think it'd be way funnier if the plot twist was just that he is a crazy, and these are just no killing them at the end. Like you don't kill the family. He is just a.
Does he kill the family?
It's implied that he puts the
right.
It's a very awful ending.
I
He
forgot
takes
about
the
that.
Santa doll. And,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, remember the one you just saw?
That's
that's the one. And I was like,
we have the
I was like,
props still.
I was like, if you wanted to do that, just like set it up in a way where like, oh, there's a little thing from each one, and he has all of them, and they're all real, and they're all going to kill you right now. You know what I mean?
At the 90-minute mark or whatever, that he's getting picked up, and he gets picked up by all the characters. Like he gets picked up by the Santa couple, he gets picked up by the Scarecrow, and just all out go crazy with it.
Yeah.
Instead of just being, here's the Santa statue. That was in the last one that you saw.
Yeah.
You know.
Or they don't really start insulting the tapes until the end.
I hate that too, though.
At the end, they start like insulting all of them.
Yeah,
and then,
You just pitched a terrible ending, dude.
But I don't like that. I like that more because that feels like it's all connected.
Well,
yeah.
But I the reason I'm pointing
It
that
should
out
be all
is
connected in some way.
Your
if
brain
there's
is
a overarching
slowly being
narrative.
pulled down by the quality of this movie.
That's what I don't like about this movie, dude.
related to Sam Slade's idea is they don't start insulting the movies until the very end, and then each one insults a different movie and says a different insult, and then the creature or whatever from that movie then shows up to kill that person.
That specific one. That
what Keegan is saying is not actually in the movie. He's pitching something.
That would take thought.
And I'm not saying it would be good.
There is no thought.
They couldn't film that stuff with Greg Sestero in a day if they had to bring it.
Because they would have to pay Bennett.
Yeah, if they would have thought about it, they wouldn't have just used the Santa thing at the end because that was just in their car that day. They're like, oh,
shit.
Is that in your car
Do you
still?
still have the Scarecrow?
Yeah, no, it's in my
costume?
trunk, and then they dig through.
No, Kevin has.
I had to return it to Halloween, the Halloween store.
Spirit Halloween.
We've been talking about this movie for a long time.
Yeah.
And this is going to be the most jumbled mess of us.
I felt bad for you, future you editing this together.
Yeah, this is Sam Slade just.
I don't feel bad. He recommended it.
Oh, this is your fault.
This is my fault. This is the real plot twist. Is
I literally while watching it, I was like, if Alec puts a timer out, it will not matter.
Oh, also,
I will say what I need to say.
I have a theory. It doesn't make the movie good, but it might be a theory about the movie's runtime.
Mm-hmm.
I think
it's too long.
It's too long. It's too long.
None of us are arguing otherwise.
But I think that maybe the reason why it's about an hour 40-ish is because Greg Sestero says at the beginning that they'll be here in 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And they need the rest of the time to fill up 90 minutes, and by then we're about 10 minutes in. And the rest of the movie happens in
There's no payoff
roughly
for that.
90 minutes. There isn't a payoff for it. But
Because Greg Sestero said it on the day, and that's what it was.
As while they're editing it, they're like, we have to leave all this shit in, so that way it's actually 90 minutes since he says that. That would be so cool. People would love that.
My theory's a lot
They put it
more
in.
just cynical. Film students think that movies need to be longer. You know?
well, good movies are long.
I would buy your theory.
Well, they think
if it
things
was
are cool, and that is a cool. If someone came up with that, they'd be like, we got to do that. Even they're not thinking
if
that
the
hurts the
time,
pacing if we have that.
If the runtime
You know what I mean?
was more specific and it was closer to 90 minutes, because it's like 15 minutes over 90 minutes, you know?
Yeah, but like if you include the stuff, like, you know what I mean?
He
Like
says at the 10
beginning,
minutes mark,
at the end.
they're going to pick me up in 90 minutes.
All right, guys, I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. I finally got a hold of him. It's going to be 90 minutes. Santa's busy, lots of DUIs. So thank you for taking me in.
So
if you start counting past that, it adds up to about 90 minutes. It's pretty darn close. I thought of that towards the end. I was like, why is this so fucking long?
So-
and I was like, well, he said 90 minutes. I was like, wait, that was around like 10, 12-ish minutes into the movie. And I was like, oh.
I think it's that
Maybe
they
that's what they're
filmed
doing.
all of those shorts and they kept asking themselves, what can we cut? Nothing's cuttable. Like, try.
You literally can't.
You
cut
literally
any of
can't
this.
cut a single thing.
I would love to speak to these men. If you could please reach out to us. We have
We
so many
actually
questions.
have him. No.
I don't ever want to see this.
You shouldn't be there.
I don't like you.
Yeah.
I'd like to
upset
see
me.
your script, sir.
Where is their script is probably
Where's the
just a
script?
pitch.
Where is the script?
You didn't write it down before you shot it.
Yeah, we did. It's written on. Did you
Where?
write it on toilet paper? Yeah, I did write it on toilet paper.
And then I wiped my ass.
I wiped my ass.
It's good though, because Dylan actually he rewrote it in the notes app on his phone. So
This movie was literally made as if it was someone that we went to community college with, and it was their first time making something, and they made this. That is the level of quality this movie's at. There's nothing done well, in my opinion. I think it's all broken garbage. Nobody on set knew how movies were actually supposed to be made, and that's why it's so terrible.
So when I can actually look at a short, and I don't do film, I don't do directing, I don't do cinematography, I don't do audio mixing, I
You don't even watch
editing.
good movies.
When I look at one of the vignettes, and I'm like, I could do that better, you have fucked up.
yeah.
When I'm unironically saying, I know how a movie's made, I don't do it, but I know how the steps are, and I can do a better job. You have.
Have you said all your final?
I could keep talking, but we don't need to keep talking.
Our review of the Christmas tapes should not be longer than the film itself. We need to stop this madness. We've been talking about this my entire life. Do you have anything else to say that's important or relevant?
I just said I could speak more, but I don't need to. I
So
could
yes,
speak
we're done.
more, but I don't
It's a
need
yes
to.
or no question.
That is my answer.
Yes, we're
Take
done.
it or leave it.
So yeah, that's.
Keegan?
Yeah, I'm done.
I have nothing more to say about it.
Do not watch
Christmas
this movie.
tapes.
Oh yeah, do you recommend
Do not watch this movie.
Oh yeah,
But
do you recommend it?
recommend it?
Yeah, so if we're doing the recommendation bit, do not watch this movie. And if they say if they're going to recommend it, don't listen to them. It is bad. It's not funny if you watch it. I've said this before. It's funny that we watched it.
It's funny that
I wish I didn't watch it. I wish it didn't happen to me.
If there was a movie that I wish all of us could have watched together and like filmed our reaction of, this is a top. one
It
I
would have been
wish.
funny
It
because
would have
I
been
was
really funny.
like physically reacting to this movie, and I was alone. I was alone watching, and I was like, oh my gosh. I literally covered my face when I realized it was an anthology too. I was like, no, it's not. It's not also an anthology.
You can
It's
do a
not just Greg
supercut of all
Sestero.
the times that we hurt ourselves going into movies by forgetting things that we already knew. Like,
Yeah, you could.
Well, honestly, if I knew it was an anthology going in, I might have just faked it. I might have just never watched it.
Oh, Mister, I don't do anything while watching it. Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, like everyone just died at the end of each of the shorts.
Keegan,
Yeah,
would you
I-
recommend the Christmas tapes?
No, if you're kind of like a horror geek like me or Kevin,
Don't even.
if you're dumb, like there's better things to do with your time. There's better like bad movies to watch.
Here's an anti-recommendation. Because I looked stuff up a little bit after it because I was just like, who are these people? Who are they? Show me who you are. Where do you live? Doug Walker of Nostalgia Critic fame reviewed this movie, and he loves it.
I really think this is a really fun, legitimately creepy, legitimately funny Christmas movie to check out.
What?
Interesting.
So, if you know how bad his taste is.
Also, it has a 6.0 on IMDb.
That sounds like a free range to put him in the thumbnail.
Put him in the thumbnail, dude.
Doug, idiot?
I think he's the,
use clips.
I think he's the only one that has reviewed this movie too.
We are
We're number 2. Listen, here's what I'll say. Here's what with any recommendation that any one of us gives to this show, it's like a gamble because like movies that you don't know will end up like getting views or whatever. I never in a million years would have thought that Horror in the High Desert would have gotten as many views as it did. And so that's the biggest reason I recommended this movie was for views. Oh, you didn't say if you recommended it.
I don't. If you are weird horror-obsessed people like me and Keegan, I still don't recommend it.
This should be lost.
That being said...
These should be the lost Christmas tapes.
Yes. I don't hate this film. I can't find it in me to hate it, but I don't think anybody should watch it.
Yeah.
So I do not recommend to anyone, honestly, to anyone. Nobody. I don't recommend it to anybody.
It's boring and bland. It's not offensive.
Yeah.
I disagree. I was offended the whole time. Well, here's the thing. Every time it has something that's kind of good, that is more of an insult. It's like, oh, they were like, this is funny, but they've ruined it, and they didn't know how to make it actually funny.
Yeah.
I completely understand.
So...
Don't you dare recommend it, you bitch.
I was sitting there watching it, and there are movies... Here's my actual thing. There are movies that I watch that I don't get any enjoyment out of. Like, there's nothing. There's, like, zero enjoyment. I just sat there, watched it, and was miserable the entire time. Zack Snyder's Justice League. That is one of them.
This is like that.
This movie had moments that I was laughing. That's a very low bar. It's very easy to make me laugh.
This is true.
I do it very frequently. But it did make me laugh. That said, it does everything that it wants to do completely ineffectively. If you're looking at it as a movie, and this is how I try to grade everything, is like, what was it trying to do? What did it do? And what could it have done? That's the triangle for me. Is that if it does what it's trying to do well, even if I don't like it, I can respect it. If it doesn't do what it's trying to do, but it still ends up being entertaining, again, I might not like it, but I might appreciate parts. And that's where this movie lands for me. It's like, I don't like it. I think that it's completely ineffective in every single thing it tries to do. But while sitting there watching it, I didn't hate it. In fact, there are parts
crazy.
that
You're crazy, you know that? You're crazy.
There were lines from Paranormal Perry that were funny.
I like the name.
That is an
Paranormal
hour
Perry.
and 20 minutes in.
We're not saying the movie is good on the whole. We were saying there are small
Don't
bits
say
we like.
anything good about this movie.
And I even thought with a better editor and a director, I think the guy playing Paranormal Perry could be genuinely funny. Like
Yes, I agree.
That whole character.
I would say, even if you're going to go benefit of the doubt, maybe just a better editor. Just cut it down.
Better editor. With that being said, I would never recommend this movie to another human being.
Not
no,
watch it.
Listen, dude. I would not pass. I think this might be the first ever Spooky of the Week. Hard no recommendation where none of us recommend it to anybody. Usually, even with movies that we all dislike, one of us will be like,
or there's a caveat.
Well, I might recommend it to horror fans that have to watch every horror movie.
If you eat poop, I'd recommend this.
No, if you like eating poop, even people that eat poop should not watch this movie.
Even people that eat poop shouldn't watch this movie. Poop eaters beware.
Watch something else.
Watch something better.
There's better things to do.
Watch Were-Deer.
Groundbreaking. Spooky of the Week. Hard recommendation. Graphic.
Yeah, new
You
graphic.
watching this review is replacing you seeing the movie.
I want to speak to Greg here, because he's probably going to watch this. 'Cause what else is he doing? Greg Sestero.
I know.
Greg to his friends. What are you doing, man?
Do you want to be in
Here's the
Bloodhound?
problem. Do you want to be in Bloodhound?
Do you want to be in Bloodhound?
Here's the thing. Greg, what I saw in his eyes while I was watching, I was like, he thinks that like he's nailing it and he loves it. I could tell he's got the passion in him in this scene, like in this movie, and in the scenes that he's in. He can do better. He's so like he was not directed well.
I think it's a director problem.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think I'd like really dig deep and get beyond this, because this is filth.
Well, and this is I wrote down in my notes that Greg is the best actor in the movie, and I stand by that.
I stand by that too. He's terrible.
He's not great, but he's the best actor in the movie.
But it's the best I've ever seen from him. It's still terrible. I see this passion in him. I see this like this a different sort of energy than I've ever seen from him. We haven't seen Best Friends or whatever. Maybe he's been Best Fiends, Best Friends, whatever. But like I feel like from this movie, it felt like, oh, this is different. This isn't like The Room where it looks like he hates himself.
He's having a good time doing this.
He clearly is having a good time doing this, but he's got to do better. He can be in Bloodhound. Because I saw it, and I was like, you know what? Greg Sestero could be a real actor.
He could be. Here's the thing.
But if he's attaching himself to filth like this, It's not gonna work.
I just want to give him props where I see improvement. You know, it's not.
Well, here's the thing. I bet you, like, for me, it doesn't look like improvement just because it's better than The Room. Like, to me, it's like, oh, this is just what he could have done if it wasn't The Room.
Yeah.
You know, this is what he could have done.
That's fair.
Or it's like, no. You can do better.
I hope so, Greg Sestero. I hope so.
Thank you for watching Spooky of the Week. We'll be back next week with another Spooky, the final Spooky.
Santa's sleigh.
Santa's sleigh.
Santa's sleigh?